Decided not to do a full YouTube video on this one because there are a million old Fender videos out on YouTube from great people. But I've got a 73 Deluxe reverb here. I just started taking off the knobs. Gonna get going. There's actual mold inside of this, so that's fun. And this is one of the 70s ones that has the good wax down on the board. The thing needs a recap. It's completely original, so I'm just going to get started doing that. And the first thing I'm going to do is pull out the electrolytics, and then I'm going to go clean this thing because it's disgusting. Then I'll get started recapping it and doing all that fun stuff. All right, you're going to deal with handheld here. So I've got this all cleaned up. New caps on it, held down with a tiny dab of silicone. Brand new dropping resistors here. Sockets are all clean, chassis is all clean. I've retensioned the sockets. And if we pull it over to the other side and dump over my tiny thing of alcohol, you can see I've got this beautifully cleaned up. And I've got all the new electrolytics in here. Another 5UF there. Got new screen and grid resistors in there. Got a new power cord that is wired to modern safety standard. The ground going to its own spot on the chassis. The insulation got a little bit crispy right there, but it's a good connection. Rebuilt bias board with a new diode there, a new resistor, a good F&T cap for the bias supply. I did end up replacing a few resistors other than the one that broke, so there'll be more, but I'm about to get this fired up and tested. So here we are. We've got the amp set up here. All the tubes are in. I ended up having to replace one of them. They had an incorrect tube in there. I'm about to check what this dissipation is. I think that's pretty close. I just eyeballed it for now just so I could test it out. I've already put a test tone into it. It's making noise. Unfortunately, the LDR for the vibrato is not doing anything. I actually make my own, so I'm going to turn this back off in a minute after I get the bias set and replace that real quick. But otherwise, so far, everything is looking good, and it's making the sounds it's supposed to make and nice and clear. So we'll keep going here. So here's a super fun thing. So I did quite a bit of cleaning on this. You'll hear if any of us amp guys, you pay attention to talk about the waxed boards that Fender did and how they need to be cleaned off because they get contaminants and moisture and they cause DC leakage or voltage leakage onto the physical board where the parts are. I've had several amps from around that era and was able to clean them up and they were fine. This one has not been. Even though I had it working great in the last clip you saw, I was getting like 200 millivolts over in the preamp section. And I did quite a bit more heating and cleaning with 99% isopropyl alcohol. It still was having the issue. I did that same thing again, left it overnight upside down on my fan to try to dry out some of the moisture, literally after painting it with the isopropyl. But if you look here, this is what the board looks like this morning after that IPA sat on it all night long. That's all wax that has come out of the board overnight. And you can see I can just put my fingerprints in it. It's pretty gross. So I went ahead and pulled out the board that sits underneath that, you know, stops all that stuff from shorting to the chassis. And it's just caked with that wax and it's just disgusting. So I'm gonna have to spend some time heating this, getting all the wax out, and cleaning it really well, and then doing the same thing with this board in here. I'm trying not to have to take up this entire board so that I can clean both sides of it. If I have to go that far, I will, but I would really like to not have to do that. So we will see what happens, but I'm going to have to go ahead with this. Honestly, I think I'm going to post this video now. Well, no, maybe I won't. I'll come back and let you know whether or not it was successful. All right, so I've got the board out of this. You can see it's pretty disgusting. This is the top side, and again, I cleaned this thoroughly many times, and it just was not enough. There's just too much wax and too much moisture in this board. This is the bottom side. It's just terrible. So I'm going to clean this off. Before I put all the original components back in, I'll get as many tested as I can. It shouldn't need many because I tested a lot while I was doing the recap and service on it. But we'll make sure they're good before we just stick them back in, and we'll get all this stuff cleaned up as well. I'm going to go ahead and post this video. This has been a really long process. This is a lot more than I was expecting, which is one of those things that happens sometimes. When we get done with this thing, it's going to work the way that it should and sound awesome. So, yeah, that's it.